What is going on, everybody? This is your host, Garrett Garcia, and welcome to episode 3 of the Triple Threats podcast. Today, I have a very, very special guest with me, American Idol and straight from Broadway. We have Constantine Maroulis in the house. How are you doing, Constantine?
What up, Garrett? How we doing, dude?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. Thanks for having me, bud.
No problem. So let's talk a little bit about where you came from. Let's go back a little bit. Born in Brooklyn, movie, grew up in Jersey, right?
Yes, I did. Born in Brooklyn, New York, a big Greek family. You know, I don't know, lots of drama, lots of music. My older brother is actually quite accomplished artist, and you can look him up. Ethan Maroulis, singer, writer, sort of goth uh, impresario. Um, Done tons of records in the industrial electronic music world and labels and all of this stuff. So my sister's a principal, school teacher, and a principal in a small school out here in the suburbs. I moved to the suburbs of New Jersey when I was pretty young. I moved back here after about 20 years in Manhattan of my adult life a few years ago, raised my daughter here. She's now 10 years old. So we live, yeah, about 20 minutes outside the city in
Okay.
North Jersey, Bergen County, a little town called Wyckoff, New Jersey. Lots of soccer and tennis and big houses and green lawns and you know 20 minutes from the city or so. And yeah, man, just kind of a soccer dad these days, just holding it down in the suburbs for sure.
That sounds like fun. I mean, it's good commute to the city. It's right there. Um, so let's talk a little bit about your career. It has been a wild one. You have
Mhm.
gone from rock star to
Mhm.
Broadway rock star to Broadway belter to everything. So what was the audition process like for American Idol? How did you get involved with that?
Yeah. Um, Look, man, I grew up as an actor, grew up as a singer. I used to do all the plays in school and all the community shows I could get my hands on. Just wanted to be on stage all the time. I actually used to have big time stage fright when I was a kid. So, getting up there as much as I possibly could, every time just it got a little better. I got a little bit more confidence. I started learning from all the older kids, learning from my brother and sister. They were in shows, started playing in little bands, singing in the chorus. Girls started to like it, boys started to like it. You start to gain a little confidence.
Yep.
Played in a couple of rock bands, early on, maybe 12 or 13 years old, 14 years old, high school then. And you just start to kind of put together a vibe, listening to all the cool records I grew up with, and my parents' taste, my brother and sister's taste, listening to show tunes, listening to classic rock and jazz. Um, and I didn't go to school right away, right out of high school. I sort of played in bands and I was auditioning professionally, went to school locally, was working, um, both as an artist, but also as like a grunt. I worked at like a big garden center, nursery, kind of putting my way through. And then
Right.
um, I met Billy Porter actually way, way, way back in the day in the 90s, and some cool people. We did a big show together, and they were like, you're really talented, but I think you should go off to school and, kind of, it will help put the whole thing together for you. So that's when I discovered Boston Conservatory, Berklee College of Music. Um, so I made my way up there, and that's when I started really kind of digging in on the work, and
Mhm.
um, acting and music, and yeah, just kind of put a plan together, So I had graduated there um, a long time ago, And I went off to Williamstown as an apprentice. I had huge people as fellow apprentices. Chris Pine, who's like, in Wonder Woman.
Wow.
Liz
Yeah.
Merriweather, this incredible writer who wrote and created The New Girl with Zoe Deschanel, and big writer, and all
Yep.
these great actors. Michael Arden, the director and actor. I met Michael Greif there. He cast me in Rent. I did Rent the next year or two on the road. Had my
Oh
band
yeah.
come out and play with me and shit, which was cool. And then, I auditioned for American Idol shortly after that. It was just kind of all kind of just weird and just happening, man, I mean, there's a
Uh-huh.
lot of little stages, but that was sort of the way I got there by my mid 20s, mid to late 20s, roughly. Um, and I was on the road with Rent, and we went all over the world, Japan, all throughout the States and Canada. And then they weren't going to be bringing me back. They were going to bring in a new cast, and I was like, oh gosh. So an old girlfriend suggested we audition for American Idol, and we took like the $10 Chinatown bus down to DC and like camped out, and
Went with it.
it was the old school days when you had to do that. And I don't know what it was. I was an actor, so they just kind of had the camera on me like from day one. They're like, "Who is this
Hmm.
cat? Like, what's with his long hair and his leather
And
jacket and all?" So
your band didn't know to audition for Idol, right?
right,
That was,
yeah.
I mean,
So I
that's
had the band, yeah, and that was kind of part of my story, right? I kind
right.
of knew that I needed an in, I needed a story,
Mhm.
and it worked.
So you played Roger on tour, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, that's me making my belting rock face on the right there. God, that's got to be like 2003 or something right there. And
Long time ago.
that is Brian
Before I was born.
Gligger. Yeah, fuck, that's awesome. Um, so, and then I was on Idol, yeah, within 2 years of that, 2005, 2006 or so.
Right.
There's me
Season
auditioning, and look, I still have my Rent hair there, my sort of highlighted Rent hair. I'm all,
right.
yeah.
So you
I look
you
pretty
were
good
like
still, right? All these years
yeah,
later, man.
still rocking it.
The wig
Still
is
rocking
still
it.
holding up. The wig is holding up pretty good.
So you went on to American Idol. Was it season 4? It was Carrie season, the season that you won.
Yeah, Carrie
Um,
Underwood. You might have heard of her. She's starting to catch on a little bit with the kids.
um, so how many auditions did you have to do until you got to the live filming in front of the judges?
Yeah, there's a lot of TV magic involved, as you might imagine. So I guess probably like three, three auditions or
Okay.
so, and then they flew. No, in fact, I was so lucky because oddly enough, I think DC of that year was like the biggest year they've ever had and the biggest audition they ever had. Like some 20 or 30,000 people showed up or something demented like that. And I was lucky. I did basically all the auditions in 1 week. That doesn't really
Oh.
happen. They often make you feel that way. But I did the
Mhm.
initial like open call audition, like with all the tables, and like they were like, okay, you're in, boom. Then I did like one other like executive producer audition, like for Nigel Lithgow and Ken Warwick, who are like mega, you know, what's the word? Oh, mega, like TV producers. They,
Uh-huh.
and then they just kind of got it. And then the next day, I think I met Simon, Paula, and Randy. And Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray was a guest judge and ended up working in my
Um,
favor because it was like 3-1. Like Simon's like, no, But they already knew they were
Right.
putting me to, they were already, they knew I was going
Uh-huh.
through. So it's just TV, man. A lot of it's so much TV.
Now, the girl that
Especially
you went
back
with
then
is
when they had Simon, it was like, they kind of would tee him up to like either like rip someone, crush them, or like whatever. It was just great
right.
TV.
Now, the girl that you went with, did she make it through at all to any, like,
No,
no, not at all?
no.
Well,
Good
at least
singer
she was.
too. Hot girl. Good singer. Just didn't have what they were looking
The
for
vibe.
or a vibe or anything different. Remember, I
Yeah.
was a little older. I was like this
Hmm.
long hair. They didn't have a rocker. I had a story. I had like an edge. I clearly had stood in front of many bands in my life. I was on tour with Rent, the biggest tour probably in the country at the time as far as like Broadway. So it was Broadway, but it was like cool and it was a rock of ages. It was like a rock and roll show. Um, and I had like toured, so I knew how to like talk. I was from New York, you know, so
Yeah.
I had a band in Brooklyn. Brooklyn hadn't like exploded into the mainstream like it had um, years later. I had a rehearsal studio in Williamsburg when Williamsburg was not what it is now, which is just shortly after it kind of became hipster haven, but then it was still like Williamsburg. Wow, that's
You're
usually just
cool.
like all like yeah, like all just like Orthodox Jewish guys with like or
The
Hasidics, and stuff at the time.
yeah.
Maybe they thought I was one of them or something. I was like, I would wear my hat.
So
But
then,
yeah, so I had like a thing going on. Like you have to have like a thing.
right. Mhm. I mean, everybody, yeah. So you then later got dropped off the show just like that.
Yeah.
Like, were you
Just
expecting it?
no, again, it was such a long time ago and it was such a different show and so many zillions of people watching every night. We didn't have the internet as a tool. I mean, we did, but we were sort of quarantined and like that was when we used to, call it that.
Yeah.
And we weren't able to like really communicate with the outside world in a way. They were so protective of us. So I wasn't able to like, I don't know, use the internet like I do today, obviously.
To
Um,
say vote for me, this and that.
right. Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't do any of that. No way. Or like even research like what was going well, what was going badly, we couldn't clear songs that I wanted. I had, the show was just it was still even though it was season 4, it was still like developing in a way.
Okay.
And all of a sudden they had nearly 100 million people a week tuning in, like 30 million people a night, 3 nights a week it was on. It was on like, it was ridiculous. It was on for months and months and months. It wasn't on just for a few weeks like it is now.
Right.
It was on from like January to like May. January, February,
That's a
March,
long
April,
time.
May. I mean, that's ridiculous. Every night, practically Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And and then it went to like Monday and Tuesday, like there, like about halfway through the season. Remember they would have results night. So it was just crazy. And you're just kind of like in this bubble. And yeah, I think, there was a lot of controversy. I think I just kind of free falled off the show one week. There's so many theories out there, but I remember ABC, now home of American Idol, was sort of running a
Right.
big expose against American Idol about like Paula Abdul, like sleeping with a contestant or something. So I think they smokescreened them by like free falling me off the show one week because I'd never been
Get
in the
you.
bottom 3 or anything. And everyone was
Mhm.
saying Carrie was clearly winning, but it was always me and Carrie getting the most votes. Like everyone was saying that. So I don't know. I think it was great TV for them. Like, and people were like, no. And it kind of helped me in a way. Cause like if I just kind of, yeah, that was that night. I still have that shirt. Uh,
Yeah. You still
and
have the shirt.
Still have the shirt. Um, and I think like if I had just gone into the finale with her and finished second and made some crap record, like I wouldn't have had the underdog sort of like people were really pulling for me thereafter. They felt like they almost like they owed me something in a way, you know? So I think it worked good for me and it ended up playing well into um my show Rock of Ages and me being that like underdog sort of rock and roll character that people root
Right.
for, and I think it worked out like that nicely. But I mean, granted, I'm competitive. I want to win,
Exactly.
but I did
Who
some
doesn't?
stupid songs. Like there were songs that I was supposed to do that got like pulled on me last minute because of rights. People back then were scared of people playing their songs on that show. They didn't know what it would do. What you know, they were so protective, but they didn't realize that like digitally, the imprint that it made, it didn't matter if like Sanjaya years later, like fucked up your song. It didn't matter. As long as he was singing your song, people were going to go listen to the original of yours that they weren't going to listen to otherwise, you know? So when I did Bohemian Rhapsody, people saw the first real digital spike in like television, you know? So then they were like, oh, that's how this works. Because they were just trying to, you know, iTunes was new. Like all of the shit was still new, you know?
Uh-huh.
Rock.
I mean, yeah, and now you can just, not every song, but essentially you can. So after American Idol, you went where? Did you go directly to the wedding singer on Broadway?
Yeah, I stayed in LA for a little while and I was developing a television show at ABC, a scripted series. It was called Brooklyn, actually. It was sort of loosely based on my life. Kelsey Grammer was producing it.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a big writer attached. My brother and I were executive producing and writing on it as well, loosely based on my life and as if my Greek family. It was sort of like a big fat Greek wedding thing, but not
Okay.
exactly that.
Mhm.
Um, it was like a family restaurant, and you know, we all sort of work there. And but I was like a kind of a rock star that came home to like, you know, be with his family and all of this. It was really cute. And ABC loved it and they gave me a lot of money and I spent like 2 years working on it, you know, and it just never really kind of came about. I did a record with Hollywood Records called Killer Queen. I did a, you know, tribute to Queen on that. Gavin DeGraw's on the
Mhm.
record, Los Lobos, all these cool acts, Joss Stone. And, you know, it was just doing the rounds. I did soap opera for a while. I can't
Mhm.
remember if that was before Wedding Singer or after. I did Bold and the Beautiful for a while, and you know, just played some solo shows. I, you know, met record labels. Like there were just all these opportunities, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's the next year. Then there's Daughtry. Then there's, you know, Ace and Cat McPhee and so you know it was like, oh, we're on to the next thing, you know. So it's, you have to go out there and get yours. So yeah, I was doing the rounds on Broadway. I saw a bunch of show openings and I showed my face. I remember Rent was still open and I was gonna even go back into Rent on Broadway, but I was a little pissed because they had kind of fired me. You know, a
Right.
couple of years before. I was like, well, now you need me, but and that was a dumb move, you know. You know, so you can't act that way. You can't act like, look at me now, you know. And I wasn't
Right.
necessarily doing that, but so, you know, you live and you learn. Like that, it might have come across that way because Jeffrey Sellers, who's a friend who later went on to produce Hamilton and a lot of shows.
Wow.
I think he was like, "Really, you don't want to be in Rent? Fuck you." And I
Uh-huh.
was like, "Oh, you know," but it's all good. So I did all the rounds, and then you know I had met the Rock of Ages producers when I left American Idol originally, and we talked and we connected, and they wanted me to do the show. They wanted me to go to Vegas with the show, not
Mhm.
the Vegas show that went years later, but a different version of the show, and it was not a great version of the show. So I was like, call me when you get to New York, you know. and
Right.
we reconnected there. And I was going to go into I had been in The Wedding Singer. I was going to go into Grease on Broadway.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then I did not, and they offered me a lot of money, and instead I did Rock of Ages off Broadway for like no money because I really believed in it and I wanted to build something, and
Yeah.
I wanted to originate something, which is very important, you know.
Right. And you went with Rock of Ages for a long time. What I feel
Yeah.
like you started the show and you left, and then you came back and you finished out the show with Rock of Ages, and then you made your little cameo in the movie. But we'll talk about that. But so when the you were nominated for the Tony for Best Actor for Rock of Ages for your character
Mm-hmm.
Drew,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
was like you were saying, the underground like rocker. Um, so how was that experience? With everybody coming to see the show and everything like that.
I mean, there's no other feeling like originating a show, seeing it go from off Broadway to Broadway to the Tony Awards to an iconic title all over the world, where it's done in
Everywhere.
different languages, four corners of the world. It's done in middle schools, it's done in high schools, it's done in community theater, it's done all over the place, and it's big deal. And the record should have been Grammy nominated. That was sort of before they were recognizing cast albums and stuff, but right before. And that would have been cool because everyone's like, I have my Grammy nom, and it's like, for a Broadway show. I don't know if that's the
Right.
same, but cool.
Right.
Did you write those songs? No. Um, and but it's still cool. Like I would be like, I'll take it.
Right. It's still
Um,
still something.
yeah, no. So yeah, and it's been a huge part of my life and influenced a lot of things. In fact, next month we have a huge Rock of
Yes.
Ages reunion all-star concert that is
Huge
just the
people.
start of what we're going to be doing with Rock of Ages going into the next sort of the next phase of life, the new
Hmm.
roaring 20s. Um, so that is I mean, you could check that out on my
Yep.
website,
Every everything will
constantinemauroulis.com.
be down below.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
it's
that
going to
that
be
cast,
amazing concert. Yeah,
Laura Bell Bundy, Carrie Butler, and you did Rock of Ages with Carrie Butler for a little bit as Drew and Sherry, right?
yeah, yeah. Carrie, I've always been a huge fan of hers, and
Mhm.
yeah, we had, Sherry was like a real revolving door for the first year or two of Rock of Ages.
Because first,
It,
Amy
mhm.
originated the role, Amy
Yeah,
Springer, and
Amy Spanger.
uh,
Yeah, she
Banger,
who
yeah.
I had done The Wedding Singer with, and it's a tough role. It's a tough role. So I just think that like um it just didn't work out for her doing the part. Like she had a hard time getting through previews and all of that, and after the Tonys, that was it. She didn't return to the show. So we had a bit of a revolving door there. Savannah Wise, who was waitress number one, she went on for a while. Then we brought in Kerry Butler, and then we brought in Emily Paget, who was
Mhm.
excellent. They're all my favorite. On the road, I had Rebecca Falconberry. Then I had Alicia McKenzie, who was, I believe, the Sherry in Toronto. A brief but interesting production. Then I had God. I had Holly Laurent went on. Erica Hunter used to go on. Katie Weber used to go on. Um,
There's been a lot.
There's been a lot, and then I finished with Lauren Zachrin, who I love,
Yes, of Legally
and
Blonde,
yeah, and
MTV's
Harry
Legally
Potter,
Blonde.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. But
So there have been a
there
few.
in the ensemble for Rock of Ages, there are some huge names that now they've kind of come up, like Jeremy Jordan
Yeah.
um was in the ensemble, on stop
Well, he
like
was really kind of brought in to be my understudy for Broadway
okay.
because they were like, okay, this kid is like a great actor and a great singer. I don't know if Drew was really like his part, but he was just
Hmm.
so insanely talented that it was like, okay, Constantine never misses shows, but perfect. We have this other kid that can go on. And then I remember I missed one show to do this thing with the Mayor Bloomberg at the time. And of course, I missed one show, and someone comes to see the show and casts him in the movie. Casts him in the Dolly Parton movie that he did, like that kind of churchy movie that he did. I don't remember. I know Dolly Parton was in it,
uh,
and uh, it was like a
I'm not sure.
Christian type of movie, but I don't remember. It was something about a choir, um,
Still a
but
movie.
then yeah, like he went into West Side Story as like the
Yep.
matinee Tony, and then people started recognizing how good he is. I just spoke to him the other day. He's actually he's working on some cool stuff in the
Yeah, he's
studio.
recording
So
some new music. I saw that
yeah. Oh,
the other
was
day.
he posting about it?
Yeah, yeah, he was in the studio, so he didn't like formally say it yet, but he was in the studio, and you were in the studio as well.
I'm hoping
A
that
couple,
he's working with a writer right now, and I'm like, I got some songs for you, dude. And
right?
so
Get in
we'll
there, get
see.
in
I'm
there.
like, I'd love for him to, I'd love to write for him or with him or something. So yeah,
Yeah. And you were in the studio as well a couple weeks ago or last week, whatever.
yeah.
So what are
I'm
you working on
always
there?
always working on. I have a new album out that came out well last
Yep.
summer. Until
Un-
I'm Wanted. Thank
Until I'm
you.
wanted.
Yeah, and
Yeah. Great music.
yeah, thank you. It came out what in June there, July, and it's been
Yep.
doing great. And All About You, the singles getting played all over XM radio, which has been cool. And it's been streaming well, and so I wish I could be out there promoting it and playing and out with the band
Exactly.
and all of that. But very proud of the album, my first one in probably I don't know 10 or 12 years, maybe more. Who knows? But never stopped writing. Like wrote for this record, kept writing. So I met up with Hey Monet a couple weeks ago, guys who produced on my record, um, and we wrote a bunch of new tunes, and we're really excited about those. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll end up putting out a new record this summer.
Right.
It could be. Definitely won't be 10 years. So really excited about the new material as well, and yeah, man, just rocking and rolling. I'm always doing like voiceovers or doing, some kind of show or some kind of benefit. I mean, I feel like I'm always doing something. I'm playing with a couple of different bands right now. Just, um, I think we're optimistic that certain things will open up and there'll
Right.
be some live shows to play as the warmer weather comes back in. And so I want to be ready to rock. And a couple of movies out that last year came to demand the fifth borough. Actually, Tara Reid is in that, and Chronicle of a Serial Killer with DMX.
Mm.
So a couple of
Sounds
kind
good.
of those kind of B kind of movie fun, straight to demand shows or movies. Dark State drops tomorrow night, if you can
Yeah.
believe
So
it, theatrically. It opens the first three shows sold out in New York. It's in New York. It'll be in Texas and LA and Salt Lake. It's in a bunch of markets, and then it'll be on video on demand uh, May 9th. So I'm
yeah. So
excited about
everybody
Dark State.
check that out. I mean,
Yeah,
the trailer, it looks good. I watched the
yeah.
trailer. That's you
It's a
in it. It
That's
does look
me.
good.
Creepy. And there's another movie called Either Side of Midnight that'll be hitting the festivals. Yeah, that's a piece of Either Side of Midnight. That's
Yep.
actually John Spadis, the writer of Either Side of Midnight, is a really good songwriter, and he wrote that song "Meet Me in New York,"
Oh yeah,
which I
that was
love.
the music video.
Yeah, so that's like a music video for the song, but it's using clips from the movie. So you can see that on my Instagram.
Yep.
Come on and meet me in New York. I
Yep.
love this song.
It's good.
Adam Cantor is in it from Broadway and beyond, and a lot of good people are in that cast. So Roger Spadis not related, apparently. I thought they were related.
And
Roger
last name.
Spadis, the director, who was
Okay.
huge when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. He wrote 48 Hours. He wrote all these buddy flicks. He did James Bond in the 90s, like crazy.
It's
Now he
pretty
just
huge.
kind of does some interesting indie films. He directed this. So, and people have been liking it. It's like a feel-good New York story.
Right.
Yeah, either side of midnight, that is, yeah.
I mean, based on what I saw from that music video, it looks pretty interesting, just like Dark State. I mean,
Thanks.
it looks really good. So from Rock of Ages, you sort of went on, and then you came back to Broadway in Jekyll and Hyde
Yeah.
with Deborah Cox right here.
Oh yeah,
There
there
you
we
are.
are. Well, yeah, and we did it sort of an interesting thing where we toured the show for a year and then
Hmm.
opened for just a limited run, like a summer, on Broadway. And it's a heavy title, a heavy, heavy, heavy title.
Yep.
And it beat me up really good. And I did every show. I rarely missed any shows. So, and I loved it. I love Frank Wildhorn and I are dear friends. We're working on a bunch of new stuff. We might revive his Dracula. So there's some fun stuff. He's got all these new shows and new material, and he's like better than he's ever been at now 60. You know, he's
Hmm.
a young 60. He's got a beautiful, very famous Japanese pop star wife, Takiko, and she keeps him very young. So he is writing some great stuff. Yeah, he and I did a concert in New York, March 9th, 2020. It was the last show
Yeah.
of the year.
Yeah. We were
That
seeing
was
that on
it.
your Instagram.
That
How
was
it
it.
was that was your last time, performing live, and it's crazy that we've come up on a year already. It doesn't feel like it to me. I
I
mean,
know.
it's so during the pandemic, you've been auditioning, writing music, because we see on your Instagram you're auditioning for so many different things. So many like this the you put out on your Instagram story, the Scooby Doo.
Yeah. I'm excited
So
about that. I really want that. I really want. Yeah, I probably shouldn't tease, and I don't even put nearly everything. I mean,
right.
somehow I get the freaking the most insane auditions still, like for huge projects, and I am not booking them. I'll be honest, and I'm doing like they love my tape. I'm always in the mix. Being considered, but then I just somehow I'm not closing, you know?
Right.
And so yeah, over the pandemic, I've sort of really developed my um, voiceover chops, and I've done just tons of voiceover stuff for DreamWorks and for Disney, for Nickelodeon, and that project for HBO Max is called Velma, and that
Hmm.
is Mindy Mindy from
Mindy
I guess
Calling, I
she's
think.
from yeah from is she from Community or is she from Parks and Rec? I can't remember originally. She's a mega writer and a huge. I don't want to say her name incorrectly, but so she's
Right.
adapted Velma, a Scooby Doo story for an animation at HBO Max, and yeah, there's a really cool part that I read on, so I hope it works out because I would love that. I would
I
love,
mean,
love,
yeah.
love that. It's really my dream thing. I would love to be Hank Azaria. You know, you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does about
Of
40
course.
or 50 voices on The Simpsons, so he's like an insane actor, everything.
Right. And I mean, if you do book the role, it'd be pretty cool for your daughter, to watch. That's my dad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with uh oh come on, what's the adaptation of the Scooby Doo show that everyone goes crazy for?
Adaptation of the
The,
Scooby Doo show.
yeah, it's Scooby Doo. It's with it's the high school drama that everyone goes
Um,
crazy for.
I'm not
Oh
sure.
God. Oh come on, Luke. Luke Perry was in it before he passed
Oh,
away.
oh, Riverdale.
Riverdale. That's
Riverdale.
Scooby-Doo, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, those are Scooby-Doo characters, aren't they? Or some. Oh, Archie. Oh, that's Archie, right?
Archie. Yeah.
Oh, that's not the same thing.
I was like Scooby
Same
Doo.
era. Same era.
I
Same
was like, that
fucking
doesn't match
thing.
up. Mm, that's so
You're like,
hilarious.
what? Scooby? I don't. Yeah, no. Archie, that's right. Same shit. Same shit. Basically the same thing. Just no
Right.
dog and no hippie van. Okay, Shaggy. Woo. Uh, yeah, so.
Look, it just right now. There you go.
Yeah, it wasn't that part, though. A different part.
Yeah. So, let's talk a little bit about your cameo in Rock of Ages, the movie. So, did they call you up and being like, "Oh, you were in the original cast. You originated. We need you to be on the movie," or was that like an audition thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I was frankly politicking to be Drew in the movie because, the original script, Chris Dorenzo wrote that, and it was my part. It was just my part,
Yeah.
and every newspaper, every media outlet in the country was like, this kid has to play this part. Because the part is not a teenager, it's not a guy from Glee, you know?
Right.
It is a 30-something-year-old rocker or a 30-year-old rocker that's like still trying to make it, that's like pushing a broom. And that's why we kind of feel bad for him. We're kind of like, oh, that guy, poor
Right.
guy. So then we kind
Poor
of
Drew.
like root, poor Drew, we kind of root for him because he's obviously talented, but he's probably missed his window and it's kind of a little late. And now he's like trying to change his image and all of this. So if you're like 17 and hot and it's like, screw you, kid, call me in 15 years when you're still pushing a broom and still trying to make it, then I might, you know, buy you whining and complaining about
Right.
some girl broke your heart. So,
Hmm.
Diego was very talented, but it was just the wrong thing. And they changed all the heart of the show. And the movie's fun. Like, I know a generation will find it on cable and be like, oh, that's Rock of Ages. Okay. But it's not really. It's not really Rock of Ages.
I
And
mean,
they did not
fair.
need to star fuck it like that. Frankly, like, I was getting just as much press as anyone else in that movie at the time anyhow, and the music was really the star of the show and the love story. So
Did they
I just
offer you
think it
an
was
audition at all for Drew?
ultimately, like, it was just not going to go my way. They were just going to go way younger with the part and just a whole different
Mhm.
dynamic. And I knew Adam, the director, and I know that he was a big fan of mine and everything. And he came to the LA opening of the show, and Juliana Huff was there, and she and I hit it off. We looked good together, but it was just not going to happen. Tom Cruise came to my show, and he's like, dude, you are fucking insane. You are
Right.
so good. And like, it would have played way better, but I don't know. It just didn't work out. And it wasn't exactly a hit, let's just say, but I'm happy to have been on the soundtrack a little bit and play a little
Mhm.
cameo, but it's not even that I'm like bitter. It just feels like it just was the wrong move. It wasn't like putting Renee Zellweger in Chicago instead of a Broadway talent. Like, that was so well done, Chicago, the movie.
A
It
movie
was so well done. It's so beautifully done. It fleshed out. This was just a giant
mess.
miss.
Yep.
Miss. You said
Miss.
mess.
I said mess.
You said mess, but it was just a miss. It was just like, and now we can't do it again. And then they had the rights, so we couldn't even film the Broadway production of it, like
I mean,
Hamilton or something like that, to have that forever. Can you imagine having like the original cast having like a Hamilton quality, like Disney plus
right.
version of the original cast? That would have been fucking awesome. But that's not going to happen. We hope to achieve some of the excitement of that with our Rock of Ages concert, but it's not going to
Mhm.
be the full-blown show, you know?
I watched the Broadway production versus the movie, and I don't know if it's because, Broadway screams more to me. That's why I say it was a mess, or maybe the set design. It was just different to me comparing the two. I mean,
Like
I definitely like
completely different things. It's
exactly.
like West Side Story and West Side Story the movie uh, are a little different, but
Mhm.
like they like switched a couple things around. Like I think in the movie they sing Officer Krupke like after the rumble to like feel to sort of like break the ice of all the bad stuff that's happened. I like or cool is done differently in the movie than it is in the show. Fine, you know.
Right.
But this was just like, whoa, what's happening?
Was anybody else from the original Broadway production made a little tiny cameo at all, or no?
No, I don't think so. There were some dancers from my tour that were in like a extras kind of shot, and they were like, yeah, protesters in a scene, I think. Uh, Joel
Yeah.
Hoekstra as well, like the very famous guitar player now of Whitesnake and Trans-Siberian Orchestra and whatnot. He has like a little moment where he's like, yeah, that's it though.
Right. So this is a picture from your cameo, and you're in the middle. You just bust out with these vocals. Um, I guess
You know
nobody
who that
knows.
is right next to me?
Let's go look
That is
back.
Gloria Estefan's husband right next to me there on my left,
This
on
one.
your right there. Uh,
Yeah. Oh
that's
wow.
Gloria Estefan's husband, Emilio, right? And that is his office in Miami where we shot that. He had this mega, like, mobster, like, record executive office, and that we shot that in his office, Gloria Estefan's husband. Yeah, so,
That's pretty cool.
and if you've seen On Your Feet, he's a character in On Your Feet.
Yeah.
Uh, so, yeah, all of a sudden, whoa, you're like, whoa, vocals, real vocals. What's happening?
I mean, yeah. And your vocal range is like so high. You can sing so high, and I don't even know how you did that. Like even sometimes just casually, you like in a post, you'll just hit these notes, and I'm like, how?
Yeah, I just
Did
have
you have?
always had that voice, always had that like high singing voice, you know. Uh,
Mhm.
and a bit of my lower baritone is register has my baritone register, let's say, has developed in my older age.
Uh-huh.
But I still very much have like that just big tenor high notes, Really, I have like high C's like all day and probably higher than that. But
It's
uh,
crazy.
it's weird. It's honestly, thank God it's still there. I don't drink. I haven't. I'm about 18 months no drinking, and I don't
Mhm.
plan on ever drinking again.
Mhm.
I put the flour down as well. 18 months. I've been taking care of myself, and I don't sleep well, so that usually
Who does?
helps. I know, and but I really take care of my instrument for sure. It's my it's a gift, so you have to
Mhm.
cherish it for sure.
Did you work on that when you were or even older?
Not as much as I should as far as like weekly lessons and whatnot, but I'm always sort of doing my own inner work, if you know what
Mhm.
I mean, and like constantly like uh sort of self-checking like where I'm at with my instrument, with my voice. I have a it's funny, I got my second vaccination the other day,
Yeah.
and
Congratulations.
I'm so happy. Thank you. And but it wiped me out pretty good. Like I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
fine.
so
I shook it off. Like had like a little sore arm. I was a little groggy, but then I was like wiped out yesterday. And I woke up today feeling better, but now it's like I got like a little bit of a stuffy nose all of a sudden, it's like so it hits you pretty good, but I'm grateful. But yeah, with my
Right.
instrument, I'm always checking in. But it was tough
Mm.
over the pandemic, let's say, the shutdown, because I'm used to being more active, with my voice.
Me
And
too.
I wasn't singing as much, I was singing a little bit, but not for money, not for
Right.
work. Like I was singing to write or singing to do like a little audition thing or some work stuff, but not like performing, so it
Mhm.
didn't have to be like pristine. So yeah, it's been interesting sort of bringing it on back a little bit, with the Rock of Ages concert coming up. I just filmed this concert called Reflections, a celebration of The Who, famous iconic rock band, of course, The Who, their album Who's Next, uh, which is like an incredible record. um, the Song Is Over, all these incredible songs. We're doing songs from Tommy and from Quadrophenia, myself, Justin Sargent, also from the Rock of Ages world,
Yep.
uh, and some great people. So that will be out streaming in late April too. So two big rock concerts coming up for stream, but it's going to be like nothing you've ever seen streamed before. The Rock of Ages concert is going to be just bananas. Like everyone is in it. Uh,
Have you
and
guys
then the
met at
Who.
all? Like
Have we?
virtually, you know, uh, planning things out, the
Oh
whole
yeah,
cast on a
yeah. I'm
Zoom.
likely going to be flying to Los Angeles for that. So uh, I'm pretty stoked, and we're going to be doing some stuff remotely in New York as well. Like so, we'll have like two locations going, like the Rock of Ages off Broadway set, which had opened before the shutdown, uh,
Yeah,
and never really got to get off the ground, really. And then the LA Bourbon Room that they built. Uh, so we have two sets that we're going to be like working from, and lots of interviews, lots of like pre-show stuff, lots of skits and sort of fun stuff. So it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick, and the Who concert is just gonna be awesome. That is really geared towards performing arts centers uh, and their subscription audience,
live.
but anyone can get it. And you can find everything on my website. The tickets to everything on my website, ConstantineMaroulis.com.
The Who's Next concert was live, right? Like you were on stage.
Yeah, it was insane. Like we did it at the Tillis Center, which is this mega performing arts center at the Long Island University, formerly called CW Post. And I played there with Rocktopia, which is this Broadway show I toured with Dee Snider from Twisted Sister, and some great people, Tony Vincent, some great people from Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So this place was perfect. It was amazing to be back on stage, even though there was no one there, but like
Exactly.
in a theater again. It was like, yes. So
Wow.
we did that concert in like one day with no rehearsal, and with like all these cameras, like a big crane, a big like
Huge
flying
lighting.
jib, all this lighting. It was sick. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, Mike Wartella from Charlie, the Chocolate Factory on Broadway is
Mike,
in that
oh
as
my God,
well.
his singing is so crazy. Like, he's just like a pocket full of dynamite for sure. And Lana from Chicago, who's gonna
Mhm.
be in my band now. I'm like, girl, you are in my band. You're in the band. What do they do that in
There it
School of
is.
Rock?
Still got it.
Yeah. So
That's yeah.
that's pretty cool.
So
Yeah.
everything will be linked below in the description for so please guys go check out his website, buy tickets, you know, do all that because it's gonna be incredible. I know I'll be watching. I will be streaming.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Now I'd like to segue into a little game that I like to call Guess the Musical. Just
Okay.
run right there. Um
Now they're gonna see
so
that I am a geek of theater.
So let's see. Everybody's answers are going to be put on a leaderboard at the end of the month. So there's going to be a 30-second timer, and I'm going to show a portion of a playbill on the screen. And so yeah, this is Guess the Musical.
I guess.
Yeah, you guessed. All right. So 30 seconds is going up on the clock. Here's the first playbill.
Oh, that's easy.
You can say pass if you want.
I got it. Do I give it to you?
No, yeah, you guess it.
We got to start again. Oh, I didn't know. We got to start again. I knew that shit right
All right.
away.
All right, let's make it fair. Let's make it fair. All right. So I know all these
rules here.
Yeah, so you guess.
Let's start again because I knew that one right away. Hit the clock because I want fresh clock.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Wicked. What? It's got to go back to 30 seconds. That is Mean Girls. Waitress. Beetlejuice. Come on. Hamilton.
You're pretty good.
That is. I should know that. Pass.
It's a hard one.
Pass. Come From Away.
Yes. There you go. So let's see. You got 1, 2,
Go back
3,
to the
4,
one with
5.
the feet.
This one, Book of Mormon.
What the hell is that? Oh shit! I knew that.
But yeah, you did pretty good. You did. There's been worse.
And what was the
There's
one
been
with
worse.
like? It was just like a little blue. Like what is it? Okay, we don't.
This is Dear Evan Hansen.
Ah shit! Oh, that's the cast. I was like, what is that cloth thing? That's the cast. Yeah. Damn it.
That's the cast. You got this one, which was funny, and the first were easy, but you did fairly well. I'll say that.
I'm a triple threat.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much, Constantine, for coming on the show. I really enjoyed having you on. Talk about so many well-versed things, Rock of Ages, American Idol, everything like that. And we're so glad to see you still, doing your thing, keeping it live during the pandemic. And we can't wait to see what you have. So everything will be linked down in the description.
I've been into my baseball and football cards like crazy. So anyone wants to gift me anything or give me like your dad's old collection and you don't know what to do with them, hit me up. I will take it all off your hands. Cards. Football, baseball, hockey, basketball, Pokemon, Garbage Pail Kids. I love it. Even though I don't know shit about Pokemon, I'm into it.
And even if you like watching people go through baseball cards, you are constantly posting it on your Instagram story.
I know people are like, we hate this. I don't care about.
Nah, it's cool.
Scottie Pippen. Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, everything will we link down. Follow Constantine at Constantine Maroulis on Instagram.
Dude, you're the best. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone for supporting live music and theater. We'll be back, I promise. And I'll be out there hitting the road, hitting the high notes, rocking and rolling real soon. Yeah. But check out the album, check out the movies, hit me up on social media. And if you need a coaching, I do a lot of musical theater coaching. Not just musical theater. Yeah, tons of it. But, if you're a songwriter or if you're a young actor, I also am a Tony nominated producer, so I know my, oh, you want to see what Tony know? Oh, they're like on the wall. I'm not taking those off. And two-time. Once as an actor, once as a producer. So hit me up, dude, and we could do some coaching. We get you better today. You looking to get into BOCO, Boston Conservatory, or one of those great schools? I can help.
Make sure you listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We'll see you next time.